Enjoy the program today. To check out the book, go to the Nashville Public Library website. And for more information about the book Dreamers, visit the Nashville Reads page. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Councilwoman Sandra Sepulveda, or Concejal Sandra Sepulveda, and today I'm going to be reading a book to you all, and it's called Dreamers, and it's a book by Yuyi Morales, and it's a book that is near and dear to my heart, being a daughter of immigrants, and so I wanted to share this with you all today. So this is Dreamers by Yuyi Morales. I dreamed of you when you appeared. Together we became resplendent life, you and I. And it says, amor, love, amor. One day we bundled gifts in our backpack and crossed a bridge outstretched like the universe. And when we made it to the other side, thirsty in awe, unable to go back, we became immigrants. Migrants, you and I, the sky and the land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. There were so many things we didn't know, unable to understand and afraid to speak. We made lots of mistakes. You and I became caminantes, thousands and thousands of steps we took around this land until the day we found a place we had never seen before. Suspicious, improbable. Unbelievable, surprising. Unimaginable. Where we didn't need to speak, we only needed to trust, and we did. Books became our language. Books became our home. Books became our lives. We learned to read. To speak, to write, and to make our voices heard. Someday we will become something we hadn't even imagined, but right now, we are stories, we are two languages, we are lucha, we are resilience, we are hope, we are dreamers, soñadores of the world. We are love, amor, love. And this was Dreamers by Yuyi Morales, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know that coming from a immigrant household, my parents only made it through elementary school, and I know several others in my community who learned how to speak and read by just picking up a book, and it's a story that resonates in not only my household, but many other families here in our community in Nashville. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and thanks for reading with me.
Hello, I'm Beizar Aradini. I am a fiber textile artist here in Nashville, Tennessee. I've lived in Nashville since the early 90s when my family immigrated here from Kurdistan. Since then, I've lived all along Nonesville Road, Harding Place, Paragon Mills, the crossroads of all the beautiful cultures and languages we have here in Nashville. I'm so happy to be able to partner up with Nashville Public Library for their Nashville Reads program. This project is inspired by Juju Morales' book, Dreamers. In this video, I'll be showing you a couple of different printmaking processes with items and materials you'll be able to find around your home. Things that you don't have at your house, you can easily find at any craft store. So printmaking is when you usually have a printing plate or a printing block, and you take that printing block and you can create a single or multiple prints using the same plate or block. So next up, I will show you all the materials you will need to be able to complete this project. I'm so excited. I hope you stick around. Thank you. In this video, I'll be demonstrating two different ways of printmaking. The first one will be where you kind of scratch away into the surface of the ink. And so it's kind of like a reduction process, and that everything you scratch away kind of becomes your image with the final print. So this is my printing plate, and there's my print. And for the second process, I'll be showing you how to do an additive process where we're adding materials to our plate and then pressing it on and creating our print. So some of the items we'll need for the first process is styrofoam plate. Here's a styrofoam to-go box that I just cut out the top that I'll be using as my small little plate. You can use larger rounded styrofoam plates for that. You'll need a sharp end to kind of press into the surface. You'll need printmaking ink, a brayer. That'll be used for both processes as our ink. For the second process, we'll need styrofoam board. That'll be our plate. Any paper that is thicker than printing paper. This is just some stock paper. You can use even cardboard, just something thicker than printing paper. You'll also need a paintbrush, Mod Podge, glue stick, and a pair of scissors. So first I'll show you this process, and then we'll go on to the additive process. For the first process, I will take my styrofoam surface, and you can use a marker to first draw out what you want to kind of create. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make a sampler and do some different textures and maybe like a flower or something, just so we can see how it's done. You want to push in just enough that you make indentations, but not too hard where you're breaking the surface. And essentially printmaking is like creating your own stamp. So this will be just like a small stamp we're creating that we can reuse and wash off to make multiple prints of it. Probably just make some dots just so we can kind of get different textures. So as you can see, you can kind of see the design already. So this will be used as my plate. So as soon as you're done with your design, you are ready to ink it up. I've placed a piece of paper just to have my mess contained on paper that I'll throw away later. An easy way to roll out your ink is to use a glass from an old frame, or you can even use a styrofoam plate. You can also use acrylic paint with the foam roller. The thing with acrylic paint is that it dries out faster, so you have to move faster. Once you're rolling out your ink, just make sure to go vertically and then horizontally until your ink is evenly distributed onto your brayer. You want to go until you kind of hear a sizzling noise, kind of like this noise. And I'm doing like almost like half rotations so that I'm evenly getting it on my brayer. I would say that's just about enough. And then you just take your surface. Try to get it evenly onto your plate. First going vertically or horizontally, just make sure you do both. So now you're ready to press this onto, you can use regular printing paper. It will work just fine. And so I'll just take that and press it on. If you want, you can even flip it. Just hold on to both sides. Give it a good rub. So you can use this again as many times as you'd like. If you're done using it, I suggest washing it out so that the ink doesn't build up and dry up on it. It'll just be harder to wash out next time. And you can repeat that as many times as you'd like. So next up, I'll show you an additive process where we're adding onto our plate and printing from that surface. So for this next process, you will need a styrofoam board, a little thicker, so this becomes our plate, our main surface. You'll need any kind of thicker paper, like I mentioned earlier, stock paper or cardboard will work too. Anything that's just thicker than normal printing paper. Writing utensils, brayer and ink again, those will be used later. Scissors, Elmer's glue, Mod Podge, and a paintbrush to roll it onto your surface. And so essentially what we'll be doing is cutting out pieces out of our thick paper and gluing it onto our styrofoam board and creating our plates so that we can make a print out of it. And a note on this, and something we'll be working on this plate, is that with lettering, you're always going the reverse. So you're also going backwards because we're always printing the mirrored image once we flip it. So we'll work on that right now. So first, you'll take your stock paper and kind of design whatever you'd like. I'm just gonna go along with the Dreamers book and get some lettering in and write Dreamers. You wanna get your letters kind of big so that they're easier to cut out. And give yourself enough space in between so that it is easier to cut out and to glue them on. And once you apply the ink, it'll be easier to get the ink distributed when they're separated. And I'll just make some shapes, some fun shapes we can use. My marker's going out. I'll do a little butterfly. And you want to kind of think about how you will place it all on your plate. So once I cut these out, I'll have to kind of consider my space that I have on the plate. And when you're cutting out your shapes, just think of it as solid, big shapes. It'll be easier to cut out versus trying to get those smaller shapes in. So we'll just start cutting my shapes up. So even though when I was writing my lettering out, I did it the right way. But when I am gluing them onto my surface, I will go backwards. And so the best way to do it is just to flip your letters and make sure that they are going in the opposite direction. And I will start gluing these all on. Elmer's glue. I use a glue stick. You can also use just regular white Elmer's glue. You can even use double-sided tape. That also helps. But just make sure that everything you are cutting out is it's large. When it's smaller, it's harder to glue, and the ink kind of has trouble getting good distribution on it. So once you have everything glued, we will be taking our Mod Podge and giving it a good layer. Not a thick layer, just good enough that it seals the plate and that it also kind of adheres the letters on a little more than our glue stick. You don't want it to be thick like that at all, because if you let that dry like that, that will create a new surface, and once you roll your ink on, you will have that kind of be printed on your paper. So I'm just gonna go give it even, and right there I have like a clump of just like dried out glue. I want to get that out so that doesn't show up on my print. Make sure all your letters are on glued on correctly, because it will start lifting up if they're not glued on all the edges. So we're not only sealing our letters in more here, we're also creating a new layer that once we are done printing for the day, you can actually wash this off and reuse this plate. So just kind of get enough on to where the whole surface has like that sheen look on it. And I would say that's pretty good. Once you are done, just set that aside and let it dry. And so I already have one that I've been working on and kind of using to make other prints. So it still has that sheen look, and everything is sealed in though for the most part. And so this is ready to be inked up and to be pressed. So I will go ahead and get my brayer, my ink, and my piece of glass. And my printing paper ready. So again, just get enough ink on your surface. Might be running out. Roll it out evenly. So by adding a thicker layer on top of our surface, we've kind of created a relief plate, and that whatever we press on, all the raised parts will be printed. Just press hard. I like flipping it over just to make sure I got it all rubbed in. You can kind of see your letters too, so I'm giving each individual letter a little rub so that it picks up the ink or any shape. And there is our print. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you get to try both processes. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this Nashville Reads program. Now, we would like to hear from you. So that we can provide you with the most relevant, high-quality programming, please take a minute to fill out the survey online, or click on the survey available in the description box below. Thank you.